Now you might have this feeling that we're overcomplicating things a little bit, whereas before, if we go back to our index.php file, all we needed to have was the require onces. Now we have to use this use statement in order to actually use the classes that we were using before. So this seems like we're doing something redundant, right? We're using a use statement and a require statement, and we might just assume that we're never going to use a third-party library. And so why use namespaces at all? Or instead, why don't we just use namespaces for our third-party libraries and then just not worry about it in our own code? Well, the reason is that namespaces allow us to leverage something called autoloading in order to automatically include our class files whenever we instantiate a class or use it. So if we use the autoloader, on this file, we'd be able to remove these require onces and just use the use statements. And then when we instantiated this builder object, what would happen is the autoloader would get called and it would go and find the builder file, include it then, and then not include it again because it knows that it's already included that file. That simplifies our code a bit now and allows us to use namespaces, but the big benefit to it is something called lazy loading, which is the idea that we're not going to include this builder file until we actually use the class that's inside of it. And that's pretty powerful. So when it comes to our controller, for example, I'm just going to hop over to Contact Us controller. Here we're including our default page and our printed page, but on any given call to this class, we're only going to be using one or the other. In this case, what would happen is either printed page would get instantiated and thus included, or default page would, but not both. So we're saving some memory in PHP. Now this application is pretty simple, so it's not like we're going to be saving a ton of memory so far, but when you look at something like Drupal or more full-featured applications, this means a lot when it comes to saving on performance.